Liberty from the angry mind, liberty from the low life, liberty from incivility. This is the Truth, Values, and Character Show.
And welcome back to the Truth, Values, and Character Show. This is Toshan once again. I know I've been away for a little while. I won't bore you with too much explanation about why, but we'll be popping back in every so often. There's so many people out there doing good work. Jesse Lee Peterson and the fam over there, James Hake, and you got Brandon Tatum and ABL, Anthony Brian Logan out there, Ms. Patricia Dixon, and so many other people. So sometimes it just feels like a bit of overkill to just add the same types of analysis to the discussion. But we do want to be able to come to you with unique content and some unique perspectives. So this is Sunday, what's today's date?
Sunday the...
February 9th, 10th? I think it's the 9th.
9th, okay. February 9th.
And I'm here being graciously hosted by my good friend, Abel Tootle.
Hello?
Give your whole name, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Abel Tootle.
All right, and give us a quick background of just of you, kind of professionally, and.
Well, I have I've studied social work. I work currently as a social worker with men and women who present with a mental health and or substance use disorder, and I've been doing that for the past 25 years.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So the reason I'm here with Abel tonight is over the past week, 2 weeks, we've been having some discussions, political in nature, philosophical in nature, primarily about the predicament, some might say plight, of black people in America. Not exclusively, but it is such a large part of the conversation. I find it hard, at least, to talk about politics in America without talking about the unique situation of black people here in America. And so that's what we've been discussing over the past couple weeks, reparations and racism, how real it is, whether I'll take the position that is not even real. So on these issues we tend to be on opposite sides of the spectrum, but thankfully, unlike what I encounter every day on social media, Twitter in particular, Abel and I are able to have these discussions and still be friendly at the end of the conversation and come back in so we can have them again. So I thank you, appreciate that.
Sure, no problem.
All right. So do you want to, you said you wanted to revisit our discussion about reparations.
Right.
And so go ahead and if you will, lay out your case for...
Well, I find it to be extremely interesting that when we talk about reparations, a lot of people seem to think that reparations is an idea, when in fact it is simply a bill. It's an unpaid bill. Okay, and it's something that needs to be paid in order for a America to heal. ADOS, that is African, that is a American Descendants of Slavery, are owed reparations. There are many individuals or many groups of individuals who have, in fact, been paid reparations. ADOS are the only members who have not been paid reparations. And it seems as if a lot of the current political figures entertain the idea as something, entertain reparations as something that needs to be studied, which is furthest from the truth. Okay. The fact is, ADOS have worked free, and our ancestors have worked free for hundreds of years, and have simply not been paid. So it's time to stop the nonsense in terms of wanting to study reparations. It's time to simply cut that check.
Okay. All right. So now I have a philosophical disagreement with reparations. But I don't know if I should go down that path right now or tonight. I'll see how that goes. But you said that it's an unpaid bill that needs to be paid for America to heal, and I could get with the idea. You know, I don't think you're coming way from left field with the idea. But I do wonder if. So I'll ask you: do you think that would really heal America in practical terms? So outside of my philosophical position, I don't think that would heal America. I think that would drive further wedges between all the different groups in America.
Well, here's the thing about that. Reparations is owed to ADOS. It's not owed to immigrants. When Martin Luther King had wrote his last book, before he was murdered, he talked about economic, justice. He had moved so far right from social justice with the understanding that without economic justice, there is no social justice. The point is, if we are to heal as a nation, America has to repent for her sins. People say, God bless the USA. But the point is that the USA has been blessed. It's now time for her to pay for her sins. It's now time for her to essentially do a 360, to turn around and start doing what is right, what is owed. Okay. And what's owed and what's right is to pay for the work that has been done, the forced labor that has allowed America to reap many awards, riches.
Okay. So who owes? So I'm playing the devil's advocate here, and I don't see who would pay. I know that the taxpayer would end up paying, the American taxpayer.
Right. Yes.
So now I do wonder first if black people are putting, American descendants of slaves, because just to be clear, so you're saying that people like not Jamaican families or, West Indian families, if you come from
Not
from the
Asians,
African continent.
It's not about immigrants. If you are an immigrant, you're not entitled reparations under ADOS.
What about
and that's the problem.
Native Americans?
Native Americans have their reparations, and they still are getting them. This is for ADOS only. The problem is when we look at civil rights, when we look at the Constitution, it was civil rights were only meant for ADOS. They weren't meant for immigrants. They weren't meant for midgets. They weren't meant for white women. Civil rights were initially intended only for ADOS, African American Descendants of Slavery. And what happened is, as often does, the Constitution and civil rights were usurped. And so you have white women getting asking for civil rights. You have gays. You have immigrants, and none of them are entitled to what ADOS is. And that, simply put, is that ADOS, the descendants of slavery, are entitled to reparations. And who's responsible for paying? Each person in America is responsible for paying. The reason why is because...
Is this including ADOS?
That's not including ADOS. Okay, Indians aren't paying for their own reparations. Jews aren't paying for their own reparations. Okay, the Japanese were not paying for their own reparations. The point is, simply put, if you're a citizen of the United States, you owe.
Okay, so now if somebody's grandparents or great grandparents immigrated here in 1906, are from Europe, are they responsible?
They are, because here is the point: is the Europeans came here under one. Europe opened up their prisons, their jails, their drug dens, and said, "Go to the U.S." And they came here for one reason only, and that was to simply make money. Now, the point is that if you're a citizen of the United States, that means you agree to come here. That means you agree to pick up whatever tab the individuals who make up the United States are currently paying. If you decide to come here, you say, I too will work and pay, and I am willing to have my monies, a portion of my monies, diverted so that ADOS, that the descendants, American descendants of slavery, can in fact have what is owed them, reparations. The same way Germany, what they do is they start teaching the kids from knee high that this is the sin that we did against Jews. And it's only fair that we pay them reparations. So it doesn't become this foreign idea. It becomes a fact that is grounded in history.
What about new babies that are born?
New babies. Anybody who's born outside of ADOS, You have a bill that must be paid.
No. I mean, so to speak of descendants of slaves,
Right.
will so let's say reparations passes today, then you get a baby born tomorrow.
And ADO
Yes.
baby, yes.
Is that baby owed reparations?
Oh, absolutely. The same way Jews continue to get reparations. America never submitted Jews to the Holocaust, yet we continue to pay. And we pay in a big, mighty way. Okay? And any Jew that's born, any Jewish child that is born, it is understood that the sin that was committed against them, that they're owed. Likewise, ADOS, for 400 years, our ancestors have worked and worked and worked and worked and worked. Okay, America got rich. We couldn't even go to school. We were killed if we learned to read. Okay, so it truly is a miracle that we have come as far as we have. The point is that America will pay until infinity. That they will owe reparations until infinity. Because here's why. Here's why. If you look at the money that they made, if you look at the corporations, if you look at the families, okay, that have become extremely wealthy as a result of their sociopathy. Okay, these are families, these are presidents, these are political figures, and these are everyday men and women who have become wealthy, filthy rich off of the backs of men, women, and children. Somebody has to pay for that. The blood of
why not them? Because the particular families, why shouldn't it be restricted? Because I was thinking about this from our conversation last night, and if a slave master becomes rich,
right,
then that kind of means, now they are contributing to their local economy. They are contributing to the overall national economy. It's better to think about it, I guess, as the state economy at the time. The United States itself was a slightly different animal than it is now. But if they were in fact becoming rich, then to me that says that they weren't doling out their profits to America, quote unquote. They weren't giving up their money to the state, because the families themselves were becoming wealthy. And I'll submit that there had to be some families that became wealthy. But if the families were becoming wealthy, if individual slave owners were becoming wealthy, that tells me that they were not giving this wealth up to the state, or else their families would not have been able to continue the wealth. It would have been cut off there. So, I'm thinking, as a presumably I'm descended from slaves, and but I'm an American, and I'm striving to represent other Americans at this moment. If the wealth itself was concentrated into these few hands, what is the moral justification and the ethical justification or legal justification to make somebody else responsible for these debts? If assuming that the debts are found to be, they're legitimate debts, people agree on it, and why should that bill be spread out amongst all the people that came into Denny's just because you happen to be in Denny's and you ate a huge meal, you racked up a bill? Why should the other people at the other tables, people walking into Denny's, 30 minutes after your meal is finished, why should they be responsible for part of your bill also?
Well, just the fact that they walked into Denny's begs a number of questions. Who owns Denny's? Okay. And when we look at who owns a lot of businesses, we have to ask the question, how? How? We have to ask the question, why is the majority of wealth concentrated in white hands? That question has to be asked. Are we to assume that whites are these brilliant super minds, economic minds? They're just absolutely brilliant, and everybody else is stupid.
Well,
No. You've asked a question, and allow me to answer. These people walked into Denny's. Obviously, it's owned by a white man.
Well, no, but no. Because in this case,
is the majority of businesses. If we look at the fact,
well, I just mean for the sake of the analogy,
right.
Denny's represents America,
right?
though,
And I'm going with it,
and not a white person doesn't own America.
No, but I am following.
Right.
I am following it. Let's say people walk into Denny's. Okay,
right.
And I don't think I'm too far off to assume, okay, Denny's is owned by a white man. Okay, I don't think I'm too far off, because a lot of businesses, if you look at the facts, they're owned by white men. White and or Jewish.
Yeah, but I'm saying for the sake of
men who have become white.
But I'm saying for the sake of the analogy,
we'll talk about that. But the point being is what I'm saying is, you said, why do these other people who are eating burgers, why are they owed? Why do they owe me anything?
Right.
Well, you owe me because you're benefiting from white supremacy. Anybody who comes here, okay, you're benefiting from white supremacy. And many immigrants adopt white supremacy thinking. Immigrants traditionally adopt white supremacy thinking, which means what? Which means ADOS, okay, that they come here and they're going to shit on ADOS. They're going to try to piss on ADOS. No. And the point is, they're going to try to ally themselves with white supremacy. But Trump is here to remind Spanish people, you're not white. Okay, Trump is here to remind you that no, you're not. You may look white, or you may even think you're white, but you're not white. And the wall should be built. Okay, so, but what I'm saying in a respectful manner is that if you're here, you raise your hand, you pledge allegiance to the flag, okay? And when you become an American, when immigrants become an American citizen, they should be told X percentage of your dollars will be debited to pay ADOS. And here's why. Okay, because you would not be able to come here if it wasn't for ADOS.
So what about people like me who say that white supremacy is just a word that words that were made up, just a phrase that was made up to promote division between people, but that it's not a real concept.
You're absolutely right, and I agree with you. It's not a real concept, and Toni Morrison has written splendidly about that, and she has given splendid talks that no, it's not a true concept, but people act as if it's real, and therein lies the problem.
But I don't think white people act like it's real. I think only so-called people of color act like it's real.
You can't be serious.
I'm dead serious.
You can't be serious.
I don't believe that white supremacy is real. I don't believe that racism is real. I believe that these are made up terms that play on anger. Now, but let me be so. Let me make this really clear. Prejudice is real, 100% real. Discrimination, 100% real.
White supremacy, is that real?
No, it is not real.
Why?
Now, it's white supremacy is real in the sense that I recognize that there may be some people, maybe I've never met them, I've never really heard of these people. I'll watch some Jared Taylor and Richard Spencer and these different people, but I don't hear them claiming white supremacy. I don't know if people mean like that white people think they're better than other people, or if they I don't really hear that, but I can imagine that there are some white people that do think they are better than other people. So if that's white supremacy, then yes, it exists. But that's it. In that same vein, there are equal black supremacists. Now, I guess the power discussion will come up. So I could address that later. But there are in that case.
Black supremacists?
Well, yeah, there are.
What are you talking about?
There are.
What are you talking about?
Blacks who think that they are supreme, that they are better than other people. Louis Farrakhan is a black supremacist.
No, he's not a black supremacist.
Louis Farrakhan teaches what Elijah Muhammad taught, which is that a big head scientist named Yaqub created the white man out of the black man, that he is inferior by nature because he is a devil, the white man. So in that case, the black nation, the tribe of Shabazz, having descended from gods, is stating to me emphatically that the black man is superior because the black man is God.
Well, no,
and the white man is the devil. So the white man is inferior.
We have given the world. We are the spiritual heirs of the world. Okay, ADOS. We have given the world the concept of God, the concept of spirituality. So yes, we are the spiritual heirs. We are the true Israelites. We are the spiritual heirs of the world, and dare I say it, of the universe.
Wait, so just to be clear, so you're saying that just this is concentrated with the descendants of slaves in America?
I'm saying we are the true Israelites. That the Creator came.
Well, you say we though, ADOS.
ADOS. The Creator came to do what?
Well, I would just say that the Creator creates.
Well, he came to save initially. He came to save his own people, ADOS, Israelites. Okay, he didn't come to save the world. But who do you mean? That change. I'm saying Christ. That change. He extended his love to the Gentile. Okay, but the main point is what I'm trying to say is that.
Well, when Christ came, the United States of America, or the British Empire, in fact, didn't exist.
Well, we know that, but I am referring to, and I'm not sure how we got onto spirituality, but the main point is that the ADOS are the true Israelites. We have given the world spirituality. We have given the world religion. Okay, so we are the heirs. We are the true heirs. And yes, we are. We have shared with the world. Okay, who God is. Okay, now people take that and they run with it. And they do this with it, and they do that with it, and they do that with it, and they do that with it. But God ultimately has the last word.
Do you think that should come into the political discussion?
Oh, there is nothing outside of God. So of course it's going to come into the political discussion.
So I guess I'm saying so that if this thing were to become a law, if the House of Representatives presented a bill, where should this idea of ADOS being the true Israelites come into the discussion, so that when
here's the thing.
I'm saying at that level, is this a thing that should really be dealt with?
If white folk acknowledge it, Jewish folk acknowledge it, we speak for ourselves. And here's the problem. ADOS, we are the only people in the world on this planet who've been studied as much, poked, prodded and researched and written about and just all of that. Why haven't they turned their eyes to other ethnicities as much as they have turned their eyes to us?
I mean, I
But the
I
point
think that's
is-
subjective, though.
No.
Yeah, I mean,
No. We
I would
have
definitely be
studied-
open to seeing that, you know, there were 350,000 articles and books written about blacks in America versus 250,000 written about Chinese. But I would just have to say that I would say that it has to be relatively even all the way across the board. I mean,
No people have ever been studied as much.
I mean,
you have people who
what do you base that on for me and people watching this?
Well, you have people who commit their lives to studying Egypt. That there's no other science, if you will, that they study Europe. You have Egyptologists that have spent their lives studying Egypt and really can't tell us anything more than they spent their lives and still can't tell us how to make the color blue as it was made in Egypt centuries ago. So you have these people studying Egypt and really can't tell us anything else. But the main point that I'm saying is that we have been studied for a reason. Our bodies have been studied. Our bodies have been sold. Our bodies have been raped. Our bodies have been, we have been unwilling subjects of medical research. And if you look at any other people in the world,
I think right now the Chinese are the subjects of medical experimentation right now. I believe, and I'm not the only person that believes this. So I mean, I'll say like right now, what is manifestly happening, centered in Wuhan, is probably a biological weapon in some form of experimentation. But I'm open to the idea that I might be totally wrong about that, and it might just be some flu that jumped from animals to people or whatever. But I think that's as inconclusive as the claim that, I mean, of course there were the Tuskegee experiments, but I actually can't think of anything else besides the Tuskegee experiments.
Greater Ford.
Okay.
Greater
Ford.
And not only that, the University of Penn, our prestigious University of Penn, have done medical research on babies, giving them lead. Okay, and I can go on and on and on.
But is that about